This episode is dedicated to the memory of Brian Moreno, friend and supporter of the Land of Chem. Brian was a comedian, actor, and producer-director of the recently released documentary Dreamland, a storming Area 51 story. I will put a link in the video description below, and I appreciate your support in checking it out. Brian, we only knew each other briefly, but you were such a genuinely good and likable person, and were so unbelievably kind to me. I will always remember that. Rest in peace, buddy. We already miss you. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Land of Chem. I am your host and the author. My name is Jeffrey Drum. Thank you all so much for joining me again. All right, everyone, welcome back. This is episode 57, The Land of Chem 2022, Ancient Alchemy and Ascension Research Expedition Recap Part 6, and I am extremely excited about today's video because I will be taking you on a private tour of a site that has never before been seen or discussed here on this channel, the Solar Temple at Abu Ghorab. And that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Even according to conventional history, this is not a burial site or a pyramid, but rather a solar temple. And the original purpose of this structure is still unknown for now. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube and click that little notification bell so that you get notice when the new videos premiere every single week. You do not want to miss the content that I have coming up in the next several episodes. If you want to help support the channel, just go to thelandofchem.com. You can pick up a limited first edition print copy of the book, grab yourself a Land of Chem t-shirt. Either way, all the orders mean the world to me. So thank you all so much for the support. If you haven't already, also follow me on Instagram for daily exclusive posts, photos, and videos from all of my research expeditions to Egypt. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is it for today's intro. So without further ado, let's get right to it. All right, everyone, here we go with tonight's episode. So in this video, we will be exploring Abu Ghorab. It is an absolutely spectacular site located just north of Abu Sir, in between Saqqara and Giza. And this is a great map of all the major pyramid sites along the western bank of the Nile River, from Abu Rawash here in the north, all the way down to the Pyramid of El Lahun here in the south, with that unbelievable granite container in the underground passageway and chamber system. And here is a map of the Abu Sir and Abu Ghorab pyramid and temple complexes. And the site that we will be visiting and discussing today is the Nayusare Sun Temple here in the north. However, both of these two structures, the Nayusare and the Yusur Kaf structures, are both labeled as solar temples and are believed to have the same original configuration. So this is how the site is depicted in all of the artist's renderings. And yes, this is an absolutely amazing image. You can see the massive obelisk that once rose out from the central base that was cased in red granite, which you can still see in place in the tour video, and the calcite crystal Hotep here, and all of the other articles that mention this site describe these areas on the east and the west side of the complex as storehouses. Well, storehouses for what? And also, there are some very significant errors in this depiction that I will be showing you on-site evidence of here in just a moment. So when you enter this site, you go in through a collapsed area here on the northern side of the structure. And we usually walk around here to the east first, because immediately you will be greeted by some of the most unusual artifacts that I have ever seen in situ in Egypt, which are these bowls. So for orientation purposes, when you watch the footage, we are coming in through here, this collapsed section of the northern side of the wall, and walking up in this direction to examine these bowls up close. And these bowls are made of limestone, and they have 3 holes just below the rim, which you can see here, which lead directly into the basin. So here is a top-down view of the right side hole, and you can see the curvature of the conduit and the hole as it goes into the basin. And the right and left side holes are both configured the exact same way, with this slight curvature leading into the basin. But the center hole, which you can see here, goes straight into the basin. And you can see in this picture that the conduit and the hole both look extremely eroded. And you will see this area up close in the video. And here is a picture so you can see the termination of the holes as the liquid that once flowed through them would have poured into this basin. Now, during this expedition, one of my goals was to document the original housing for these bowls, which are not shown on any diagram or depiction of this site. And I propose that they are all located on the four corners of this structure, with a total of 4 bowls at each station, for a total of 16 of these limestone bowls with the 3 holes. So here is a picture of the southeastern corner of the structure, and you can see the in situ remains of one of these bowls in its original house. And here is where the right hole would have entered into the basin. And back here behind it are the one, which you can see here. And here is the third one, also completely destroyed. And here is number 4 in that same group of limestone basins with 3 holes, which are all located on the southeastern corner. So I counted a total of 7 bowls on the way in that have been excavated from the original housings. And we have these 4 here, so that is a total of 11. And you will see in the video that the rubble is strewn all across this entire site. So the other 5 of these bowls are most likely in all of those destroyed remains. And again, I am the first researcher to propose that there were originally 16 of these 3-holed limestone bowls, 4 in each of the corners surrounding this obelisk and solar temple. So next up on this image is the white calcite crystal or alabaster hotep here on the south side, which you can see here in these 2 pictures. And ladies and gentlemen, please keep in mind that if you want to visit Abu Ghorab, you have to obtain special permission access from the Egyptian government, the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities. And these 2 pictures are from 2 different special permission visits to this site. Quite different pictures, but structures that I have ever visited. And you'll see this hotep, or altar as they call it, later in the video. But that's not it, ladies and gentlemen. There are several more anomalies found at this site, including these channels running from north to south that were carved into the limestone paving blocks that are leading directly toward 9 more bowls, which have all been removed from wherever their original housing was and placed on the south side of the complex. And you can see both of those things here in this image. So here are those channels carved into the limestone paving. And you have to remember and visualize that this entire complex was once finished with limestone or other types of paving stones like you can see here. And I will say this, that it appears that this site has experienced some of the most extreme intentional destruction of the site and the artifacts and all of the evidence of the original purpose of this site. And we do not know from which area these bowls were taken, and you can see that these are significantly different than those that once surrounded the structure on all 4 corners. The first set of these 16 limestone bowls all have 3 holes. These bowls are made of calcite crystal, similar to the hotep, and they have this gear-like configuration around the rim, and they only have 1 hole bored into the basin. And here are a few images showing that hole which has been drilled into the calcite crystal. And this is another one, and you can see here the grooves that remain from the tubular drilling process that bored this hole into the stone. Now, we also discovered the remains of copper oxide in the crags of these stone bowls, which you can see here, and another close-up image of that green copper oxide here. So it appears that these calcite crystal bowls were once originally sheathed in copper. All right, everyone, 'tis the season, and brand new Land of Chem winter merch is now available at thelandofchem.com. I have these badass new Land of Chem hoodies, a couple of different options for long sleeve shirts, of course, the original t-shirts, the new Land of Chem 5th degree logo, an alchemical symbol for hydrochloric acid, and I took this awesome picture of the Central Pyramid during my 2020 research expedition. Of course, the OG logo, molecular ammonia inside the red pyramid, designed by yours truly, and of course, limited first edition print copies of the book, The Land of Chem, an initiation into ancient chemistry through the degrees of the Egyptian pyramids. So if you want to help support the channel, just go to thelandofchem.com. You can pick up a copy of the book, grab yourself a t-shirt, one of the new hoodies. Either way, all the orders mean more to me than words can possibly ever describe. So I will simply say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now that I have your full attention, here is the exclusive private tour footage from the solar temple at Abu Ghorab. And of course, I have a theory about the function of this site that I will be revealing in Abu Ghorab Part 2. So please subscribe, stay tuned, and enjoy this unbelievable footage from one of the most perplexing sites in ancient Egypt. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go through Abu Ghorab. And we are entering here through that collapsed section of the northern wall, which I mentioned before. And you can see all of the rubble that is strewn across the entire site. And there are many different types of geology that are found in this rubble that we'll see here in just a moment. And the limestone basins that I mentioned before. And you can see the red granite here. And this was part of the original casing of the structure. And one of the best intact examples of these three-holed basins. And you can see how the hole curves into the basin, as I mentioned before. And the deteriorated and eroded conduit leading into the hole. And here you can see those casing blocks, those granite casing blocks still in place. And there's also red quartzite, which you can see here. And this is the same material that was used to carve the conduit and collection bowl at Abu Sir. And here we have those channels that run north to south, carved into the limestone paving blocks. And they are leading out toward these calcite bowls. And there's the calcite crystal Hotep. And those paving blocks would have covered this entire area. So they have been either completely destroyed or completely removed from the site. And here are those enigmatic white calcite crystal bowls with the single hole bored into the stone. And that's just a close-up of the crystalline material within this stone. And you can see the difference in the rim here with this gear-like configuration around the rim. I would be very interested to see the underside of these bowls. See if there was a concavity on the other side. And we do not know from what area of the site these were taken. They've just all been moved over here. And this one is the bowl that has the remains of the green copper oxide within the basin. Which you can see here. So it appears, like I mentioned before, that these bowls were sheathed in copper, which adds to the mystery as to their original function, which I will be discussing in part 2 of Abu Ghorab. And as you can see, it definitely looks like this entire site has just been completely destroyed. But look at this spectacular artifact. This white calcite crystal Hotep, or altar. And here you can see the saw cut from the tubular drill that was used to carve out that portion. And there's another saw cut here. And you can see it's just been patched up in places there as well. And remember, as I showed in the depiction, that there was once a giant obelisk rising out from the base which has also been completely destroyed and removed from the site. And here is the southeastern corner that I showed before, and the original housing of those 3-hold limestone basins. And there would have been one here as well. And here. And there. So there were 4 in that grouping. And I proposed that there were 4 on each corner for a total of 16. Some more red granite. And this is where an attempt was made to excavate into the structure to see if there was anything inside. There are some of the red granite casing stones still in place. And more rubble. Just huge chunks of limestone. And back around the north side of the structure. And just a look at the core masonry of the structure. And back around for a final look at the 3-hold limestone basins. Some of the red granite casing still in place here. An absolutely spectacular day at the Nayusare Sun Temple at Abu Ghorab. All right, everyone, that is it for today's video. This was episode 57, The Land of Chem 2022 Ancient Alchemy and Ascension Research Expedition Recap Part 6, covering the Solar Temple at Abu Ghorab. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and in the next episode in the series, I will take you on another exclusive tour of my absolute favorite site in Egypt, Abu Sir, so you can see the mysterious artifact that completely changed my life, that now infamous red granite collection bowl. And in the following episode, I'm going to hit you guys with something special, the Electromagnetic Field Experiment Part 2. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to The Land of Chem here on YouTube. Click that little notification bell so that you do not miss the episodes that I have coming up. If you want to help support the channel, thelandofchem.com, books, t-shirts, I really appreciate all the support. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is it for today's episode, so I will see you next time. Yo, are you still watching this? Please subscribe to The Land of Chem here on YouTube and click that little notification button. New videos coming out every single week. And check out this other episode. Come on, do it. Do it now.